I've made all different types of breads for you on Everyday Gourmet, but I'm going to show you now how to make ciabatta, which is an Italian-style rustic bread. Now, the word ciabatta means slipper, and it gets its name because it's flat and rectangular. It looks like Grandpa's slipper, and they are delicious for sandwiches. What makes them so special is they're super crusty on the outside and really fluffy and airy in the center. So we'll start with our yeast mixture. This is going to give us lovely lift. I've got some instant yeast here that goes into a bowl along with some warm water. So we want about 2 tablespoons of the warm water. The rest goes into the flour mixture later on. And we need to feed this with some extra flour. So I'll add some of my bread flour to that and also some sugar. Never add salt to this because the salt will kill the yeast and we don't want that. We want to bring it to life. I'll also add my extra virgin olive oil to this bowl. Now at this stage, it doesn't look like much. It just looks like a little mixture. But as it sits and proves for about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how warm it is in your kitchen, it'll start to become fluffy and frothy, just like this one. So can you see the difference there? See how you know this one has activated because it's been sitting here and you know that it's alive, which means it's going to produce a lovely bread. So this one is ready to be used. So I'll grab my mixer bowl. Now when making bread, you want to use a flour that is ideal for pizza and bread. So this pizza and bread flour is perfect. So we'll place that into a bowl. So in that goes, I'll add the rest of that warm water, which is around the 360 mark. And then we're going to place that onto our mixer. So I'm going to start the process of mixing it, and then I'm going to add this yeast mixture. Once it starts to come together, that's when we can add a good amount of salt. All right, this dough is looking really good. I've been kneading it for quite a while, for about 6 to 8 minutes. You really want to activate the gluten in the flour, and it's really done a great job there. It needs to prove now. I've got an oiled bowl just here. I'm going to grab our dough, then into the bowl it goes. Cover it with some cling film and let that stand for about 1 hour or until it doubles in size. So this is one that's been proving for a while, and you can see how fluffy and light it is. Now, usually with a typical bread, you would knock this back, knead it again, and then rest it. We're not going to do that. We are resting it, but we're actually going to stretch it. So a little tip I have is just to put a little olive oil on your hands because it is quite sticky, and we're going to stretch this out. So just scoop one side and stretch it up. You can see how stunning this dough is. And we're going to bring it into the center. So stretch it again and bring it into the center. So you've done each corner if you like. We're going to tuck it back into bed. This now needs to rest again for about 30 to 40 minutes. Then we can start shaping our loaves. All right, this stretched dough has proved again it's looking fantastic. So we get to shape this into our oblongs. I'm going to use some extra flour just to place onto my board because it is quite sticky. And we're just going to carefully take out this dough. Look at this, see all these bubbles, stretchy bubbles. It's a really, really good sign. Yes, it will shrink a little bit, but don't worry, we have to prove it one more time. I suggest putting a little bit more flour on your hands too. I'm just going to stretch this out just to make it into a rough rectangle. This will just help us cut them so they're kind of even. So I'm just going to use this cutter to cut straight down the center. Okay. And then we'll cut them again. So we've got 4 rolls. And what I'm going to do is just roughly make them into the shape that I want, just like this. And it will look like it's shrunk so much, but fear not, this goes straight onto a tray and then they're going to prove again. Give it another 30 to 40 minutes. Once they've proved up a bit, they've become slightly puffy, they go into a hot oven, 200 to 220 degrees. They're going to cook for about 15 to 20 minutes or until they're golden on the outside and really fluffy. Well, I'm so impressed with how these ciabattas have turned out. You can see that they're crispy on the outside, that flour's still on there, lovely and hollow in the centre. They smell fantastic. Gee, I'm really becoming a baker at the moment, and you can see why they get their name ciabatta. They look like little slippers, little grandpa slippers. I love them. So I want to cut into them so you can see how stunning it is inside. Let's cut a few slices. Oh, look at that. See those little holes? That's what it's all about. All of that proving is worth it. Now, I'm just going to dip this into some vinegar and oil just because bread, when it's still slightly warm from the oven, is just heaven. So I want to have a taste of this. But honestly, as is, it's just a beautiful bread. Perfectly seasoned, there's enough salt in there, fluffy. See how spongy that is? It's a true sign of perfect bread. Ciabatta loaves. Next time you want to make bread at home, give these ones a try.